Love Where You Live, a podcast where we have conversations about why it's awesome to live in Boulder. And today I'm joined by Dirk Friel, and I'm just going to throw the name right out there and say this is a guy that is, I think, synonymous with not only Boulder, outdoor, family, community, lifestyle, but he's a guy that I've known my entire time I've lived in Boulder.
Yeah.
So Dirk, thank you so much for being here.
I remember you winning Ironman Texas or Arizona.
Something like
was it
that.
Arizona?
Something like that.
And then I ran in and had you over for a barbecue the next day in our backyard to celebrate.
That's right.
And,
good memory.
Yeah, and weird kind of memories float in and out of.
That's right. I think that's right. I think that's the first time I met you. It might have been Coeur d'Alene. It was because it was the early 2000s.
Was it Coeur d'Alene?
Something.
You win Coeur d'Alene?
I managed to win that one. That's now we're going way back in the annals.
Okay.
But,
and then I've actually been on a podcast with you where I interviewed you.
Yeah.
And it was
totally
right near beginning of COVID, and it was around Ironman and their racing going virtual and all that type of stuff.
That's right. I know.
How can we survive this COVID thing and stay triathlon, centric?
Yes. And we did it. And it was fun. And there were those weird virtual races.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah.
Well, so let's do this. I think we could sit here and chat about, because there's some fun stuff. I want to do this. To those of you that didn't immediately know the name Dirk Friel, many of my listeners will, but others of you from different sort of pools, some different spheres of life. The one thing I'll say is Dirk Friel was a co-founder of TrainingPeaks. If you're in the training athletic space, period, you know what TrainingPeaks is. We're going to talk about it. He's also an athlete that lives and breathes this stuff on the daily. He skis, he rides, he trail hikes. Do you run? I don't remember.
I run in the fall.
He runs in the fall. I thought
skiing.
so. I didn't want to throw that out there and be a liar, but he's a great all around outdoor enthusiast, but at a high level. You used to race bikes professionally.
Yeah.
And so Dirk's got a really cool, I think, background and a currently very cool goings on as well. So Dirk, that's just an intro. We're going to go into more specifics. But for those of the listeners that are like, why is this guy on the couch with Lovato today? So thanks again for being here. I want to do this because I don't know the answer to this. Tell me real quick, just give me that backstory. Where did you grow up?
Fort Collins, just
that's right.
40, 50 miles north of here.
Okay.
And that's where I got the endurance bug. And it's a great place to have grown up and done the endurance thing. It was great.
Do you have siblings?
No,
only child. And so Dirk, tell me this: how did you catch the bug? Because your dad was into endurance sports as well, or was it just around?
Yeah, my mom and dad. They were, I guess, original marathoners running. We were a running family, and I ran a lot in middle school. My dad actually ended up. He was head track coach at the local high school, Rocky Mountain High School.
Okay.
Then one day he decided to quit teaching and coaching in high school, and he bought a running store.
Okay.
And he owned Foot of the Rockies.
Okay.
So I worked in the store, age 12, doing inventory and dusting and doing what I could, And then he ended up buying the bike shop next door and tore down the wall. And it was like the world's first triathlon store, which is way ahead of its time and didn't succeed. But as a young teenager, it was an amazing place for me to have all my toys and, my bikes and running shoes and all that. So I started to dabble in triathlon in the early years, but I really kind of took to cycling.
To cycling.
Yeah.
So that's so cool. I mean, you're saying like middle school running. You must have seen in that era, though. We're talking in the 80s.
Yeah, early.
You've got some cool legends of running, like local legends of runners coming into that shop, I bet.
Oh, I remember, Boulder was the focal point, and my dad would hire like the local collegiate, talent.
Yeah.
And help the kids out, the students, that were on the cross country team and track team. But they would work, in the shop, and we would end up debating, training philosophies.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so it was like a think tank. So in the 80s, they would talk about intervals and VO2 max efforts and repeats and this and that and hill reps and stuff. And then go home, find the research, bring it in the next day, prove their point. And that kind of was really how my dad started coaching endurance athletes was within his running store. And that definitely bled into me. And I'm early, in my kind of cycling career. And so that was, a great think tank kind of like atmosphere to grow up within.
It would have been. You're just absorbing that. I mean, were you sort of a part of the conversation or more fly on the wall?
I'm more a fly on the wall, but I would apply principles to myself.
Yeah.
And by the way, it was Joel Friel, my father, not my brother.
Yeah.
We have the same amount of gray hair now. He's 82 and lives like a mile away from here. But it was great growing up in that atmosphere. My parents ran Boston Marathon, New York City Marathon, traveled the races all the time, Atlanta Marathon, and I was just really just enamored with the bike because I could ride to Boulder. I can ride 100 miles and just be in totally different communities and connect different cities and see different things. And the Coors Classic was happening.
Okay.
So Bernardino and Greg LeMond and Steve Bauer and Phil Anderson, all these European greats that I would read about in Winning Magazine were right down the road in Boulder. So I'd ride my bike to peak from Fort Collins.
Yes.
And watch a road race and ride home. And I'm in my teens and that's a 100-mile day. And that was just like a normal thing.
That's so cool.
It was a different time period, but also just like in love with the whole European cycling culture.
You were captivated. Did you ever do other sort of traditional sports? Or was it all by the wayside because you fell in love?
In middle school, my parents made me do cool, school sports. So I did basketball, track, football.
Okay.
And then, first day of high school, I'm like, hey, can we get rid of that like family rule? And I just want to ride my bike. And they're like, okay, you've kind of proven that you really love cycling. And
wow.
So they wanted me, it's good to be well-rounded, experience different sports.
Okay.
Not just specialize early on.
Yeah.
So that was great. But then start of high school, it was just all cycling.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And was there a pretty good scene in Fort Collins as far as, high school cycling?
I mean, we didn't have, first of all, there was no collegiate cycling yet.
Right.
There was no high school mountain bike league yet.
Okay.
But Colorado was the epicenter for like road cycling.
Yes.
We had so many great, riders come from here in those years. But we had amazing races. Every single weekend, I had a big race.
That's cool.
And the junior fields were so big. They would have junior A and junior B.
Is that right?
And to get in the junior A, you'd have to be a category 1 or 2. Like you were already at that level.
Okay.
So I never actually had to go through the categorization. Once I turned 17, 18, I was already Cat 1.
Okay.
By having done races and upgraded as a junior.
Yeah.
And then we had a great stage race scene. Copper Mountain, Crested Butte, Vail, Breckenridge even had a race, Winter Park, Steamboat. Every mountain town had a 3-day stage race, basically.
That's cool.
So you could, race stage races all summer long. And then, of course, we had the local criterium scene and road races. And I grew up in Fort Collins where it's windy as hell, and
the plains.
You can ride in a straight line for as far as you want with the crosswind. And so we had Wednesday Worlds, we had weekend 100-mile group rides, and they were harder than the actual races.
I bet.
When there's money on the line, you kind of like soft pedal a bit and make other people work. But when there's no money, it's just all out. It's just like throw down fast, So I really learned how to ride in the wind in northern Colorado, which helped me eventually make the bridge over to Europe. But the scene was amazing, growing up here. And we had the Olympic Training Center too. So I could go. Luckily I got selected for training camps down there.
Wow.
I spent Christmas there once. December training camp.
How cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So, and this is all basically 15 to 16, 17, 18. You're just that pure high school, and you're out there traveling around the state. A little bit of traveling beyond the state, or mostly state travel.
I got accepted. Our local club got accepted to one of the top 5 junior races in the world is in Canada.
Okay.
It's called Tour La Bideby, and in the French-speaking Quebec. And I come home one day, I'm like, Mom, we got accepted into this junior race. I have to drive there like next week. And this is in Canada.
Sure.
So I get in my, stick shift little Mazda GLC car, no AC, no cruise control. And we literally slept on the ground. Like we would drive and sleep on the ground.
Yeah.
to get to northern Quebec, Canada,
Yes.
and do this week-long stage race that Bobby Julich won.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and I beat him in the state championship road race here locally.
Nice.
But now the kids fly. You know, they fly to Canada.
Yeah, they do. I know.
They don't suffer.
Oh, no suffering.
Yes, but we would. So yes, I would get out of Colorado, got to Canada.
Good for you.
I actually would travel a bunch with Bobby. Bobby's dad had a little RV, and the three of us would go around the nation in this RV, and we went to nationals.
How cool.
In New York, and did all kinds of crits and stuff along the way, and Super Week in Wisconsin. So I definitely got out.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I kind of just told my mom and dad, like, hey, I'm gone for like the next 4 weeks, and I'll be in touch.
And this is, doing, how does school work in that time? This is a curiosity. High school, what were you doing?
I was in a very liberal school.
Cool.
We had open campus, open scheduling. They were very open. They gave me credit for riding my bike.
Oh, no way.
When I would go away to training camp in Colorado Springs, it was easy to do the homework from afar.
Yeah. Okay.
I arranged it so I graduated a semester early.
Okay.
I ended up walking with my class.
Oh, that's nice.
In May. But I left in December, and I was just traveling on the road.
So cool. Amazing.
So I lined everything up around the bike. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, you were in. I love that. And so when was it that you first realized, hey, you know what? I'm going to go to Europe. I'm going to race on a bigger stage. When did you figure that out?
Well, at age 12, that was my dream.
So you set the dream at 12, yeah.
But effectively at 19 is when I figured it out, and dropped out of school, got a one-way ticket. I had a place to stay for a month, but my goal was to stay for the entire season.
Yes.
So I went over at the end of February.
Okay.
And I was 19, and by the end of that first month, I had a host family lined up.
That's awesome.
I had a club, and so I had the majority of all the expenses taken care of.
Yeah. And so real quick, you used to drive out of school. Where was school? Were you?
Well, I started at University of Northern Colorado, so college.
Okay, yeah.
Right out of high school. Yeah. And then I did a semester and then dropped out.
Yeah. So, I'm just trying to figure out where you went. Greeley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were in Greeley, and then you're like, boom, I'm going. Where in Europe were you?
I went to Belgium.
In Belgium.
Because Belgium, there's a race every single day of the week.
Perfect.
Back then. You could ride to the races.
Okay.
And you just had amazing opportunity.
That's
it was
cool.
where a lot of the foreigners would go. I wasn't a skinny little climber either.
Right.
So it wasn't really, Italy wasn't my thing, Spain wasn't my thing, but riding in the wind was my thing, and mud and cobbles, and
You're tough.
That's what I was.
You were tough and strong.
I love that. So
that's great.
Ended up going to Belgium, and I was there for 5 seasons. And it took me 10 years to get through college. Graduated from CSU.
Well, congrats. Good. I mean, we'll string it out.
I would do it all over again. The same. All over the same.
I love hearing that. And you know what? Why not? Because that that's your path.
Yeah.
Like you were following your passion, you're doing what you're good at. And
somehow my parents allowed me to do it. I think they just saw the passion and the focus, and I was always striving, and there was always, I was achieving goals, and it was just driving me forward. So
yeah. So why not? No, that's great. And you also, I mean, you mentioned it, Joel Friel. This is a guy that became one of the forefathers of coaching, really. But I mean, he wrote the Training Bible. He put it out there where you could say, hey, there are methods. I mean, he was one of them, certainly for multisport. So I say that to educate as well. But you know this. They've respected what you were doing. They believed in it. Like that was their passion as well. They're traveling around doing marathons.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a very solid sort of you're following their lead.
Yeah, in a way, they have a pioneering type mentality because I was born in Indiana, but we moved to Colorado when I was 6 months old.
Gotcha.
So it was just like they just packed up and left.
Yeah, let's do it.
And so that's sort of always been the mentality of like, oh, we're gonna leave the teaching job and start this crazy entrepreneur thing, and
that's so cool.
Have a running store. Like who owned running stores, right?
Yeah.
In the 80s. And so that's kind of like in my DNA of just like taking the risk, but it's not viewed as risk. It's like that's just the next thing I have to strive for.
How cool. What a great thing. That's good. And it's neat to look back after, all these years, and now we know sort of some of the results. So how long did you spend? So you've gone basically Fort Collins, traveling around everywhere. Greeley, you're in Belgium.
Yeah.
Big change over there. How long were you over in Europe?
Well, 5 seasons.
Okay.
I would come back in the fall and go over in February.
Okay.
Race in the snow in Holland and Belgium. So yeah, I did 3 years amateur, 2 years professional over there.
Yeah.
And then ended up coming back here for the 1995 season until 2002 is when I was racing domestically, but on teams that would still travel. So I could still, I was still getting to Europe, Guatemala, Japan, Canada, kind of Mexico, all over.
Fun.
You know.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so it was like a 12-year pro racing career.
12-year career. And so while you were doing that, once you came back, those first 5 years in Europe, where did you land? Did you go back to Fort Collins?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I entered school. I only went to school in the fall, however.
Okay.
Like 1 semester a year.
That's why it took 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's where I met my wife, Kim, and like right when I came back from Belgium I got back here October 94.
Okay.
I met her the same month.
Yes.
And continued racing, but I was again only going to school in the fall.
Okay. Yes, that's great. And was she in school there? Is that how you guys met?
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys met in school. Yeah,
yeah.
Very cool. She was in the Army. Wait.
She was in the Marines.
Marines. That's right.
So it's kind of similar. I was gone for 5 seasons. I was a quote, little older student.
Yeah.
She was the same. She was in the Marines for 4 years.
So cool.
Little older student.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And you guys clicked. I mean, you guys matched so well. Got a lot of years together. That's what, 30 years?
Yeah, and since 94, been
94.
together.
Yeah. So cool. Well, that's, okay, neat. So you guys are there. You're finishing up school. You're still racing. What was the next step out of Fort Collins? Where'd you go? What was the kind of career path? I'm starting to blend into, now we're like, what year? Early 2000s?
Well, again, we met, so Kim
Mid-90s,
graduated a year before me.
Okay.
And she got a job in Denver.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm not going to live in Denver for riding my bike. Hey, let's compromise, live in Boulder.
Okay.
So 97
is
when we moved to Boulder.
Gotcha.
96, 97 time. Yeah, 96 actually.
Okay.
And, being a poor bike racer,
I
was delivering pizzas for Abo's Pizza here locally. And, but I'd, just be like, hey, I'm leaving for the next month. I'd be on a road trip or whatever. But I could always come back and deliver pizzas.
There you go. Yeah. Fantastic.
Help round out the prize money,
Yeah.
So we have always kind of been in North Boulder.
Yeah, where were you guys? Do you remember where you first lived? You moved here. She's working in Denver.
Yeah, we were on Walnut Street, an apartment, Walnut Street. I could walk to the Marquee, which is it used to be a club, and I saw the Jayhawks, Soul Asylum, several different bands there. Cool. I could walk home, down the street to Walnut, and then our first place we bought was off of 47th Kings Ridge.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, great spot.
So that's
great spot.
First place we bought, and it was.
It's fun. It's neat to hear because we're talking a lot of years in Boulder, and for me, it's always fascinating to kind of. And you said that you're always sort of North Boulder.
Yeah.
You found your jam. I think a lot of cyclists really kind of tend to gravitate towards the north part of town. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's really easy to access. For me, I love the climbs. It's easy to access.
Yep.
Obviously, Old Stage, Lee Hill. Linden Drive, I do a lot of efforts up Linden Drive.
Ooh.
Steep stuff, steep climbs.
Yeah,
Bow Mountain Road, dirt road off the backside, connector. And now, dirt gravel access is all out of the north, for the most part. You have dirty Bismarck down South Boulder, but you have a lot more options up north.
For sure.
And it's a little more quiet. You don't have the commuter traffic to Denver, and we've never had a big need to go to Denver much. So I do travel through town, though, to get to skiing. So that adds an extra 15, 20.
It's funny. Exactly. I always tell people that, obviously when we're looking at where folks should live, and your wife, Kim, is in real estate. She gets this. We have various areas where we offer expertise. And one of them I find myself telling, if you're in South Boulder, you got a very quick, you got 15 minutes less to the mountains, and you've also got 15 minutes less to the airport. I mean, if you're heading to the airport, you got that easy shot. But I'm with you. North Boulder's been our home. So you're here, you're back. Tell me, because obviously you had been to Boulder as a kid or through some of your cycling and some of your racing, but when you moved here, can you remember sort of the impression or the I guess just sort of the welcoming. Were you like, hey, this could be home, or was it still a little bit like, nah, Fort Collins was better? I just am curious.
Yeah, I mean, at the time they were more opposites. They've become more alike over the years.
Gotcha.
But they were in contrasts. Definitely more cowboy, agriculture
here in Boulder.
Up in Fort Collins. Yeah. Not as dense, really. So a lot more. It felt like open space, if you will. There. We've always had open space here, but I mean, like the town itself was spread out. Fort Collins is very spread out. It still is compared to Boulder.
Yes.
But yet now Fort Collins is obviously the brew pubs, music scene, hipness. It's gotten more.
It has gotten cooler.
More. Yeah, exactly. Boulder kind of already in a way had that in a way.
Gotcha.
They had, I would come from Fort Collins to like the mall crawl.
Yes.
The Halloween Big Bash on Pearl Street. I would come to Boulder for the reggae concerts and these crazy see Morrissey in the field house, at CU Field House and like these crazy shows are up on the hill.
Yes.
We didn't have that going on in Fort Collins at the time. They're more similar now. So I think the welcoming, I definitely like the freshness of that, the difference.
Yeah.
A lot of my competitors were here, cycling wise.
Okay. Is that good or bad?
It was good. You got to ride up a level, if you will.
Sure. Yes.
So more, the Finneys lived here and Ron Kiefels and those folks. And, you got to kind of, I guess, see them out on training rides and kind of learn a lot of tips of the trade, if you will, out on those long 5-6 hour rides,
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the mountains here too. Fort Collins doesn't have as great of mountain rides.
Right.
Like pure long Cat 1, like European style climbs, Flagstaff or obviously Sunshine or going up Ward to Brainerd Lake. You can do a 40 mile up to 10,300 feet, ride from here.
That's right.
Right out your front door. So I really enjoyed that difference of training style.
Yeah.
So they were really well-rounded. I learned a lot in Fort Collins riding in the wind and in the gutter and the group rides up there. I learned to be really, it's like a hard knocks kind of.
Yeah.
It's like being a boxer in the ring and learning how to fight up there. And then I kind of rounded it out with the fitness in the climbing.
With the climbing.
Down here.
So that's neat. It's really cool because you came, I know you came here really oriented towards still being full-time cycling, going for it, your fitness, and it's cool that was your introduction really to the town, to daily life here.
Yeah.
So as the years progress, I want to kind of get to, like, we teased that you're a co-founder of TrainingPeaks. This has been around how many years now?
26 years now.
26 years, yeah. So 2000, you guys, and there was something I remember, it was a training Bible and cycling peaks, right?
Yeah, so my dad wrote the cyclist training Bible, triathletes training Bible, mountain bikers training Bible.
All the training Bibles.
And so he had a brand.
Yeah.
He had the training Bible brand.
Yes.
We were then coaching kind of under this brand. And then we launched this web app, which at the time, SaaS wasn't a thing really, but we actually started working on it in 1999.
Right.
But it was natural to just leverage the brand recognition of the Training Bible series of books.
Yeah.
So our web app was called trainingbible.com when we launched.
Right.
But really we wanted it to be for any coach, any athlete. You didn't have to follow my father's methodologies.
Sure.
Any wacky methodology, we're
goes.
here to support. We said we were like Microsoft Word. We don't tell the author what to write, but they leverage our technology.
So cool.
And so then it made sense that we should change the name, be more neutral. TrainingPeaks is what it became. So yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And you really, I am sure there are plenty of decent softwares out there or different platforms where you can do coaching. But really, in my view, and I'm not in coaching anymore, but it is the pinnacle. You guys have made it to a lot of all the sports. Yeah. Really all the endurance any sort of sport. You can tell me about that. But I feel like you guys have made it to the top over the last, 2.5 decades. Is that fair? Would you agree, more or less?
I mean, yeah, I don't think of it like that because it's still, I'm always feeling like an entrepreneur whereby there's always risk.
Okay.
You always have that nightmarish scenario. It's just like you just always have to keep striving.
Of course.
You know what I mean? You're not at the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
We're not at the top of the mountain because the vision is I'm always seeing 5 years out how much more we have to do. Like we're not even halfway there.
Yeah.
And that's what's fun. It still feels like that startup because even within the teams, within the product development, within the marketing, we're always learning, testing, striving for new, and we're always getting pushed. Even, and it's good to have competitors for that.
Of course.
They push you in unique ways.
Yeah.
But we have, market share, if you will. And it's growing because of so many more endurance sports are gravitating towards, the scientific method, if you will, but that doesn't mean you ignore the personal side of things and how you feel in your RPE. That oftentimes that needs to override all science. How you feel, how you slept, your recovery, and your mood, motivation. That's number one place you start as a coach with the athlete. But yet tracking the data, everybody has a wearable now, so we can track all kinds of crazy data, start to make more sense of it. And it's fun for me to branch out and see how other sports, we're all trying to solve the same problem.
Right.
Go faster, get to the finish line faster.
Yeah.
Leveraging this technology, whether you're a runner, cyclist, swimmer, or, high rocks, like whatever the sport may be, we're all literally solving the same problems, but we do it in different ways. And so learning to get out of your comfort zone as a coach or athlete and see how other sports are tackling what does threshold mean in swimming versus running versus cycling versus high rocks, VO2 max efforts or zone 2. How much zone 2 does this sport do versus that sport, volume. It's great to learn and kind of cross-pollinate. Yeah. So I love going to different training camps, running training camps and triathlon. And every January I'm in Spain at the cycling training camps for the pros. And there, it tends to be that cycling, because we're the most data rich sport because of power meters for the most part. And we're on a machine. Every single thing can be measured on that machine. And efficiency wise. And so a lot of kind of, I guess, cycling coaches spearhead a lot of new kind of movements, if you will, that trickle out. And so it's great to get in those environments and see what the best in the world are doing. That's
so cool that you do that. I mean, to be there front row seat to that. And then you also see the back end. I mean, that's fantastic. You mentioned something and I just want to kind of draw this through line again. You said this when you first moved here, you were training with your competitors, and you said, and that made you better. And I think just tying it back to what you just said, as an entrepreneur and with the competition, I mean, you guys are still striving. You still have that athlete mentality, entrepreneurship, and you're pushing. Is that fair? You're still competing, you're still driving, you're still looking at goals. You're still trying to get somewhere, and any competition has got to help that somewhat.
Well, I think I feel I try to help other people reach their potential.
Okay.
And that started first in me, but then early on, I became a coach, with my father. So helping others reach their potential. And then that's just broadened. Now I'm not personally coaching 15 people, but I'm helping coaches build businesses so they can help their athletes reach their potential.
Yes.
So that's kind of more or less the through line through my career, if you will, from when I started coaching in 97, so I was 27 when I started coaching, through today. That's kind of the path I'm taking, and that never ends. Science is always pushing forward.
That's right.
A lot of times, coaches are ahead of the science. The science has to catch up to the practices that the coaches have figured out for some reason. Why does this work and that not work, right?
Yeah.
And science then tries to prove, back into it, if you will.
Right. Yeah, I buy that. Yeah. I do. I absolutely believe that. I mean, I think that's a really cool observation. So very, very neat. And I'll do this on a lateral. I actually have seen TrainingPeaks utilized and promoted as part of a overall wellness, health, not
we say
necessarily holistic sort of longevity, like how to live better, how to live well, and kind of increase that health span, right?
Yeah.
And so then it's like, hey, you know what? That's another way to better yourself or reach your finish line, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, you yourself go through different phases of your health, performance, longevity, if you will. You start out with ambitions as a teenager. Maybe you might end up doing as far as you can take the sport.
Yes.
Right. Whatever your best PR is.
Yes.
Your best PR may have happened at age 25.
Right.
And now you're 55.
Yeah.
You're not going to hit that PR anymore. But now you're like, wow, I love running. I love cycling. But now I really love ski touring. And
That's
now
right.
I do ski-mo racing, ski
Yes.
mountaineering.
Yes.
My number one race every single year right now just ended in March, and that was Power of Four.
Right.
In Aspen.
Yes.
And it's, a 6.5 hour, 26 mile, 10,000 vert ski mountaineering race. But that's a new passion for me in my 50s.
That's so cool.
But yet, TrainingPeaks is adaptable. It can
get you
take
there.
on whatever new thing you have, and that's going to change throughout every decade of your life.
Right. Right.
So I'm kind of proud that I'm still like leveraging the product, if you will, at age 55, but yet it's the same thing I used when I was racing pro.
Well, it's a perfect transition too, Dirk, and I do want to hear more about that because we didn't really have a great ski season, a great snow year, or we haven't. Yeah. But tell us a little bit about that more in depth. How many times have you done that Power 4?
Oh, like 10 times now.
Oh my gosh. And it's individual, or do you have a team?
It's a team race. You are with a teammate.
That's cool.
And you start, finish, do the whole thing together. My teammate, I've done it about eight years now, Tim Fea out of Breckenridge.
Okay.
That, because it's a team race, you up your game. You don't want to let your partner down.
There you go.
It's okay. If it's just an individual triathlon, you're having a bad day, you're like, whatever. But you're like, wow, my partner's out there training.
Right. Yeah,
today,
that's right.
And so I got to keep pushing.
Yeah.
I got to be well prepared. And this year, actually, they made it longer.
Oh my gosh, why?
Well, instead of 10,000 feet, it was 12,000.
That's
instead
awesome.
of 26 miles, it was 29 miles.
Holy smokes.
Instead
On
of
purpose?
6.5 hours, it took me 8 hours.
Oh my word.
Yeah, it was not fun. That's kind of the beauty of ski mountaineering is avalanche conditions.
Okay, right.
They don't always know on the start line exactly the course.
Oh, that's cool.
It's kind of wild and crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
And so we had a 3-day storm.
Yep.
Aspen Highlands Bowl was closed for 3 days.
Okay.
It piled up 35 inches.
Holy smokes.
And on the start line at 6 a.m., they didn't know if avalanche mitigation would be taken care of by the time we get there.
Okay.
And so they planned on it not occurring.
Okay.
They thought the bowl would be closed. So they added more miles and vert on the first climb.
Gotcha.
Then by the time we got to Highlands, guess what, folks?
It's open.
They bombed it. It's stable. It's open. We're doing it.
That's
so the organizers all excited, and I'm like, I turn to my partner. I'm like, this is going to take us 8 hours.
Oh my word!
So we sort of had to like back off a tad bit. It's like, this is, oh my Lord, this is now a monster.
Yes.
So that's you got to sort of take it as it comes in ski mountaineering racing because they do change the courses. I've been in races where they're just like, all right, we can't do the third climb, so we're going to do the second climb twice.
Oh my word.
And so you just have to roll
with you got to roll with it. You have to be adaptable. That's so neat. And you've been doing that now 10 years for that.
I've been racing for close to 15 years.
15 years of that, yeah.
We have races at Eldora.
I know. There's one coming up. A couple weeks. Like a fun race.
Yeah, and Steamboat has a last kind of like a real serious race of the year coming up, the Cody Challenge.
Yeah.
But I love they have Wednesday morning races at Eldora.
Yeah.
We get like well over 100 people on the start line.
That's so neat.
Friday mornings, we get over 500 people going uphill.
That's so cool.
TrainingPeaks had a booth last Friday there, handing out swag. And
very cool.
So it's a great local scene. There's a lot. That's where like a lot of the cycling and running crowd kind of overlap.
Yes.
They gravitate towards, ski touring during the winter.
Yes.
Low impact, great aerobic conditioning. You can keep it safe by staying in bounds.
Yes. And you're outside. I mean, the bottom line is you're outside. And so if you're a cyclist and you don't want to ride the train, or you're a runner, you don't want to the treadmill, whatever, this one is built for bad weather.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's so cool.
It's awesome. And like Eldora, you can go uphill from 7 a.m. till 4 p.m. during the week.
That's pretty cool.
So it's great. You could go before work, or if you have an afternoon free, get up there on a Thursday afternoon, have great snow, it's dead.
Okay.
And do nice
human-powered
laps.
Human-powered laps.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not the only one that's been. So after, when we get finished, you're going to tell me what boots I need to buy, because I bought all the other stuff.
Julie Dibbins.
That's right. I know.
She's done some races.
Julie Dibbins, who, now that you've mentioned her and I've mentioned her, she keeps ducking the podcast. So now that I've said it on the air, she has agreed to avoid me for the last, for my whole life. But no, she loves it. She and I have talked at length about the, she goes up every week. She goes real early, hits it.
Yeah.
She's I think probably as into it, as you can get, right?
Yeah.
It's so cool. So and then I want to talk a little bit about this. You mentioned this, if you don't mind sharing, like, what are you doing this week? Because I think this is cool to share, like the sort of stuff. You don't just work hard uphill, train your buns off. You're also about to have a fun trip. Am I right?
It's like triathletes dream of going to Kona, Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
And, as a ski touring, Colorado's great, but also horrible. Like, we have this year's the worst snow conditions ever recorded.
Yes.
It's also the most dangerous state to do ski touring out of bounds. Our snowpack is very unstable.
Okay.
But yet you can find great places to ski and tour and have a great time. But like the culture, the European ski culture is so dramatically different than Colorado. And I love that. I spent a lot of time in Europe, and I go to Chamonix for UTMB every year. I'm lucky to be able to do that. Yes. And I just love that Chamonix Valley. So I'm taking my daughter, who's 24 years old, going next week to Chamonix, just a father-daughter ski trip. We have a guide, and we're ski touring for 6 days.
That's so neat.
So the goal is to leave that trip with her wanting to do it again, not to make her, an extreme skier and scared and all this stuff, but to have a great, safe, fun time.
Yeah.
I've done it like 5 times. What's great about that valley is you may end up in Italy, you may end up in Switzerland, you may do all 3 countries in the same day.
Neat.
And so every day you're looking at conditions, working with the guide, seeing what makes sense today. And it's just like amazing. You end up in Italy.
That's cool. How fun.
And come back in the Chamonix each evening, or do a hut trip, and stay in a hut up high.
Yeah.
I've done the Haute Route, so a multi-day trip from Chamonix to Zermatt, Switzerland.
Okay.
And you go through huts along the way. So that's a great father-daughter trip, but I also do like one big kind of usually international trip a year. So international though being like Alaska, Norway, Europe. So I love going off, and it's an endeavor that you have to train for.
For sure.
When
100%.
we did the Haute Route, typically most people do it in 6 days.
Okay.
And we did it in 3.
Oh,
so
wow.
We doubled up.
Yeah.
And then we skied straight for like 8 straight days.
Wow.
So big, like we trained for it.
Oh, you have
so
to, right?
It's an event without a results page.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
nice.
it's great fun.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And so I love that. Thank you for sharing that, because it's cool. I think hopefully, for me, I always sit on the couch and get inspired by one way or another. And those adventures, I think they're inspiring to me, Dirk. So it's cool to hear. I want to hear a little bit about your daily life. So, it was an off year for snowfall.
Yeah.
But how much skiing did you get in this year? Is it kind of, and where do you typically go?
Yeah, it's been pretty horrible. I mean, this is a very, very, very off year.
Yeah, very off.
I did one ski tour.
One ski tour. Okay.
Now I could have done more, but it's just like, it was so thin, and it's just, so I ended up going up to Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Oh, nice. Yeah, fun.
Our CEO lives up there, so I'm lucky to be able to stay with him, and we do our guys' stuff up there.
Yeah, nice.
And I skied a lot on Teton Pass. In Jackson, you take the tram up to the top, we go out the back gates, and we'll do a whole day in the backcountry, end up back in bounds.
Oh, fun.
We go to the park. Grand Teton National Park is great for touring. And then I did a lot of resort uphill days.
Good for you.
A lot of Eldora, Breckenridge, A Basin,
Yeah.
Obviously Aspen. But typically I usually get about 60 days total. This year is probably only like 30. And I do a lot of touring, up around Summit County and Vail.
Fantastic.
And this is a great time of year, March into April and May.
Yeah.
Not this year, but that's when it gets more stable, knock on wood. It gets the snowpack is more stable, and a lot more predictable.
Gotcha.
And you can do steeper lines.
Right.
So I love kind of doing my skimo race season through mid-March, I get this great fitness bill through the racing, and then I can leverage that in the backcountry.
Okay.
Can I do speed touring?
Yeah.
And do 14ers, do Grays and Tories, do some really high alpine stuff. And yeah, it's a fun to kind of point and just go,
Yes.
and just like,
yes.
You don't want to be too stuck on the objective of the day, though, again, because of the snowpack.
Right.
Go with the right group.
Yes.
You can veto the group.
Okay.
And it's never about the objective because it might change while you're out there.
You got to be adaptable. Yeah. Once again. Okay. And then what about your, are you still riding the bike? You still ride the bike a bunch? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
I'm now on bike mode. I'm having fun skiing, but I'm training on the bike now. Whereas a few months ago, it was training for skiing and bike on the recovery days.
Right.
Now it's kind of flip-flopped, if you will. Yeah. I'm signed up for Unbound 100 gravel race, end of May. I might do Boulder, Roubaix here, end of April, local.
Yes. Tell us about that, because that's got a lot of history, and some people don't know what that is, the Boulder, Roubaix.
Yeah, Boulder, Roubaix is modeled after, obviously, Paris-Roubaix, famous race coming up in France. We have our own version of it, Boulder, Roubaix, and it's basically just dirt roads on road bikes. And I've been doing it since I was a junior.
I was going to say, you got a lot of years there.
I won it.
Oh my gosh, cool.
One point in the 90s, as a pro.
Yeah.
I actually rode my bike from Fort Collins to Boulder, won it, and then rode home.
Of course you did.
And I was in prep for going to Europe. Like, that's what you had to do,
Yeah, that's neat.
So, it's definitely like a big thing here locally.
Yeah.
They have every category, and it's a great scene.
Okay, so now this one, I'll put you on the spot. Tell us in your order the top 3 steep climbs that you can ride to from your house, good ones. Like, what are your favorite 3? Just your best 3. 1, 2, 3. You can go 3, 2, 1, or 1, 2, 3.
I mean, I love Linden Drive.
Okay.
I have a threshold workout where I can do multiple 8-minute efforts. There's like a branches off of Linden.
It does. Yeah.
So I can do 8 minutes.
Okay.
90-second recovery. 8 minutes, 90-second recovery, and then to the top. Cool. And then once you're up top, you can do a final loop. If I have just a VO2 max day, like 3 minutes on, 3 minutes off, there's a top loop I can do, which is I've been doing that for decades.
Yes.
Like, there's 3 minutes on, 3 minutes off. Like, it's basically a circle up top. You can do.
Yeah.
Another road that tees into that is Bow Mountain Road, which is dirt.
Yes.
And I love that in the winter. Like, after work, putting on the headlamp.
Okay.
And going up Bow Mountain Road.
You go up Bow Mountain, down Linden, or you just go up?
Yeah. Or up and down. It kind of depends on road conditions.
For sure. You get a little squishy in there, a little wet, a little soft.
Yeah, but it's great in the evening. Yes. After 5 when it's dark. That's kind of a neat. You feel like you're really way out there, but you're like a mile from Broadway.
Yes.
That's kind
it's
of the
wild.
beauty of it.
I know. I agree.
Yeah, and I love that neighborhood up there. And I guess Deer Trail.
Trail.
Top of Lee Hill, turn left at the very top, and it's called Deer Trail. And that's where the real climbing really starts. And you got to have your granny gear. And ideally, if you're on a bike with some bigger tires, you can go down the backside, the escape route.
Right.
And connect into Sunshine.
Yeah, town of Sunshine.
Yeah, that's a great lap.
Yeah, County Road 83.
But it's even harder going the reverse direction up the escape route on dirt.
Yes.
If you can clear that, you're pretty damn good.
You're doing okay. That's a neat one. Someone took me on there, and now I'm sort of I get out there when it's nice. I've never gone down it though.
Oh,
I've only gone up it.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's mostly. I mean, I'm on a gravel bike, but it's a.
Well, yeah, but if depending on your gravel bike, like I can do the 2.0 mountain bike tires.
Yeah.
Or the big 45s.
Yeah.
And you could also hit Rowena.
Yeah.
Rowena down the left hand or up Rowena, which Old Man Winter just raced that up Rowena.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a good year for it. Probably wasn't any snow in there.
I've done it before where you needed, like, it would have been faster with snowshoes. I was like, I should have stashed snowshoes the night before because there was like 8 inches of snow overnight.
That's amazing.
And you had to boot pack.
Yes.
Like a mile and a half. with your bike in a bike race.
It's so unique. I've participated in that event, but only the short one, because I do the sort of the run bike, and you can't do the long. One year I need to swap it up and really try and make that. Epic. It seems pretty tough. Yeah. So those are 3 good climbs. I love this. What about, tell us this, and this again, what would be your favorite if you had 8 hours and you're like, I'm going to ride the 8. I don't know what the longest ride getting ready for Unbound. You got to do a long ride. What's the best ride here? You just roll out your door. What would be the favorite, or maybe you bring an out of towner that you're like, hey, I'm gonna show you my favorite.
An 8 hour. I would go
6 to 8.
Left hand up to Gold Hill. Grab your cookie and a Coke at Gold Hill. That's a must do.
Up Lickskillet, you go. No. You go left. I said left hand.
Sorry. 4 mile.
4 mile up. Okay, sorry, 4 mile to Gold Hill. I'm with you. I'm on it.
By the way, this last weekend I did that. I did 4 mile up to Gold Hill. I went down Lickskillet.
Okay.
Up left hand to Sawmill.
Oh, fun.
Up Sawmill, back to Gold Hill.
Nice.
And then down Sunshine.
Oh, that's fun.
It was like a big figure 8.
Yeah, that's great.
That's like 4 hours.
Okay, that's a good one.
That's a sweet 4 hour. But then, once you get to Gold Hill for a longer one, go to peak to peak. It's more and more climbing to peak to peak. And then I like going south, like all the way to the gambling towns. Cripple Creek, down there. There's some good. You can come in a back way on some dirt roads into the. Is it not Cripple Creek? Central City.
Central City, yeah.
Yeah, Blackhawk, Central
Blackhawk,
City. There's some dirt roads. You can get off peak to peak and come in up high and down into it.
Perfect.
Grab a Coke there, and then there's more. There's another dirt road. I don't know the name of any of these roads.
Yeah, good. You just follow
exiting Blackhawk.
Like kind of on Golden Gate Canyon?
Northeast. And then you connect to like Golden Gate Canyon, cross Golden Gate Canyon, and come in by Gross Reservoir.
Oh, yeah.
Down and come down Flag.
Yeah, yeah.
That's an amazing route.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay, good. So you're getting a little mixture, gravel, dirt, gravel and road.
I'm pretty much always on the gravel bike.
Always on the gravel bike.
I'm always on the gravel bike, but I'm like 70% on dirt.
Yes.
But you're connecting.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's great. Okay, perfect. And then let's do this. This is sort of a fun, you've already mentioned stopping for a Coke, stopping for a coffee, all this stuff. What are some of your favorite, there's 2 versions. Where would you go if you're just going to hang out, coffee shop, restaurant, something like that?
Yeah.
What would be that? And then what's on the other side that give you time to think? What's the other one where it's like your life-saving store that you can always count on getting that Coke or a Snicker donut, whatever it is?
To go hang out. It was like, Suti, that new cafe?
Oh, right, yeah. I haven't been yet.
It's like, I don't know if it's Danish, Norwegian, it's Scandinavian.
Just off Pearl, like between Pearl and Spruce, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, was that 11th or I don't know, 14th
somewhere
or something like that?
Okay.
It's a great vibe, definitely the whole Norwegian feel and everything. And,
nice. Okay.
Get my dirty chai, spiced dirty chai in there. Perfect. And you sit outside on like sheepskin rugs, on these little chairs outside.
It's very Viking.
Very Euro Viking. Yeah.
Okay.
But then the lifesaver kind of places like Hygiene. What's the...
Wait, they change the name all the time.
I know. But we buy
remember it used to be called
gluten-free apple pies there now for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
Like Kim is going out. We're getting all kinds of great bake stuff out there.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so Hygiene, that is a lifesaver because you can be. I've actually.
It used to be Johnson's Corner on I-25, going out east.
Gosh,
and
yes.
I remember being so poor. Like, okay, I can get like hot water. They have free sugar at the coffee. Maybe I'll add some coffee to that, but then they'll charge me. I'll just get hot water and sugar for free.
Yeah, hot water, sugar, a little sugar pack,
or honey. They had free honey packs. Yeah.
Hey, we've all been there. Yes. I wonder, back there used to be, remember back in the same early 2000s, there was that Wednesday ride?
Yeah.
At like 10 a.m., you could ride Folsom and Iris, and you did that big loop. Did you ever do that big kind of painful 50 miles or something? So, okay, how about this? I want to hear 2 different things. First is you've got someone from out of town and you're going to show them around. You're going to really show off Boulder because you just want to showcase, and it could be an athletic visit or a non-athletic visit. It could be everything, but you're just going to show off what are some of the highlights, the must-dos if you've got someone that's never been to Boulder and you want to say, man, I want to really sell my town.
Wow. Well, another coffee shop that I love is can't remember the name of it, up towards Chautauqua. You're driving up
Is it Alpine Modern?
Alpine Modern.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love that place. Hanging out on that patio is great.
Yes.
After like a Chautauqua hike. So we might go
Perfect.
up, hopefully midweek. Weekends can be busy around Chautauqua. So kind of do a hike. If they're, big endurance athlete, let's do Green Mountain.
Okay. Yes.
Proper real big hike up there.
Yeah, very good.
2,000 vert or whatever
Yeah,
that is.
it's notable.
Finished Alpine Modern, coffee shop. And then again, if they're cyclists, got to get to again, it's not Boulder, but Gold Hill. Gold Hill is great.
Yeah.
I love doing their dinner at the Gold Hill Inn.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And in between servings, you can just get up and walk. Just go outside and walk around.
Cruise around.
The streets.
For sure.
They're fun. Yeah.
For sure.
And then hopefully there's a show or something, Boulder Theater downtown.
Nice.
Or like a ski film or something.
Yeah, something
the Boulder
fun,
Theater is really, really cool. Love the bar and seeing a movie in there or a show at the Boulder Theater.
Yeah.
Is really good. Rooftop of the Rio,
Finish it off. Yeah. There you go. Rooftop. A little margarita, some Mexican food.
Do you know what a Ricky is?
I don't.
It's a mini Corona bottle.
Okay.
But they bring you the marg in and then you turn the bottle upside down in the marg and pull the beer out.
Yeah. Yes.
Get a Ricky at the rooftop.
A rookie at the rooftop. Ricky at the rooftop. That's great. All right. I love it. And then, okay, so sort of similar, but I want to hear this. If you were to plan any season, winter, spring, summer, fall, and you're allowed to leave the county. You can go a little bit far, but you got to start here. You're going to give us a picture of Dirk's perfect day. And you've probably done this, but give us your day. You can have Kim with you. You can have your best mates with you. No one, it can be anything, but start to finish. When do you start? And be as detailed as you can. You're like, hey, this is just a day I don't have any obligations. I craft it. Maybe there's work, maybe not. Maybe it's just ridings, whatever. Tell me.
Yeah. We have a place in Breckenridge.
Okay.
So, maybe Kim is already there and I'm driving up, and along the way, I'll drive over Loveland Pass.
Okay.
And I love parking at the top of Loveland Pass. Okay. Lots of people park at the top of Loveland Pass.
Yeah.
They spend 10 minutes to take their pictures and they leave.
Yeah.
But, if it's summertime, bring your trail shoes.
Okay.
And I run the ridge line towards, that would be towards Torrey's. I forgot the name of that peak, but it's before A Basin.
Okay.
But you can run that ridge line over Cupid.
Okay.
Cupid is the name of the peak. So that's a great, I've done that in the evening.
Oh, perfect.
Of a summer evening.
How cool.
Up high.
Okay.
So amazing. In the winter, get out your skis, do a lap on top of Loveland Pass there.
There you go.
Either side. You can hitchhike up too. You can ski down and hitchhike up.
Okay.
I've done that before.
Yeah, fun.
End up in Breck. Go to the Breck Distillery.
Nice.
Amazing. Got to get a reservation. Amazing chef there.
Okay.
And then next day, hopefully it's springtime, and I'm going to go do a big... I like to get up early. Actually, it's the only place in the world where I listen to the FM radio. They have the avalanche report. They have the local.
Okay.
They have the local skimo results.
I like that.
The town happenings.
Yeah.
On their, I forgot whatever FM station that is up there.
Perfect.
Then I'll get up and go meet my buddy out of Vail and hit. There's a place called the Powder Factory.
Okay.
East Vail. Not a lot of people ski it. You got to hit it the right day.
All right.
But on my perfect day there, I've done 2 laps, so it ends up being 4,000 vert.
Oh, nice.
And there's a rope at the top where you got to lower in. A little bit of mountaineering, a little spicy to get in.
Wow.
But totally glorious once you're in that line and doing a steep. I love doing steep, great snow, lines, hence, Chamonix.
Yes.
So yeah, end up back in Breck, and I build a fire in the backyard, bonfire. See the star, clear sky.
Sweet.
You're up high at 10,000 feet, and just you can see the stars.
Perfect.
And it's a great way to end it.
That's
over the fire. And I love cooking on the fire.
Okay. All right.
Lamb chops and all kinds of stuff just on the fire, even fish.
Amazing.
Love cooking on the open fire up there.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's a skill. Nice. Well, that sounds like a pretty ideal Colorado kind of, setup right there.
And then maybe you ski in the morning, you make it back to Boulder and go to the swimming pool in the afternoon.
There you go.
80 degrees.
Because it's 80 degrees and you can do it all. That's great. Yeah. What pool would you go to?
Well, I live by the Elks Club.
Yeah, so you pop in the Elks.
When my daughter was, living at home, we went to the Elks Club a lot.
All the time. Yeah.
FAC at the Elks Club.
Yeah. Yeah.
Strong margs for $3.
Totally. There you go. Very cool. Well, that's great. That's a good picture. I can envision it now. And so let's do this. I want to, is there something that you thought, well, hey, I thought we were going to talk about this. Maybe at some point Lovato forgot to ask me that. Anything you want to share with the folks that are here with us for this conversation?
Yeah, I see you a lot in Kona. I mean,
this
is where I see you the most.
We used to we would maybe go time like a year without seeing each other. See you every time in Hawaii.
I'll be there this year.
You'll be there. Yeah, I don't think I'll be. Well, I don't know. I might.
All right.
They said we're doing a broadcast. You may come.
One year I was on a lead moto. Somehow
that's fun.
Somehow they got me on the lead moto, and I don't know. I don't have facial recognition of all the top pros.
Right.
So I was really, really, really stressing, and I was texting back to the booth.
Right.
What was happening?
Yeah.
And that was so stressful and amazing.
Yes.
To be on the lead moto with the lead men and just soaking that up, But I was on this Harley.
Oh my gosh.
This Harley bigger than this couch.
Right.
But then, at a certain point up there, there's cyclists going both directions.
Yes.
And there's only the yellow line for the moto. And there's actually Harley's going both directions.
Yeah, it's a little stressful.
And I was like, it was stressful.
Yeah.
But see you in Hawaii. And so anyways, yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully we have another.
Cool. Hopefully we can rendezvous there. Yeah, for sure. It's been a few years since I went over there, couple decades in a row.
Women and men back together.
Back together
like the old
again.
Times.
Yep. Like the old times. Yeah. I know. I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good year. And I feel like we got a lot of star power going in. Everyone's racing well, and I mean, it's still early, but should be fireworks again.
Yeah, I am always in awe when I'm at that race, but I'm never jealous.
There you go.
The conditions there. I
Pretty
did
brutal.
one Ironman.
Yeah.
And it was South Africa.
Yes, I remember that.
And
you
it was
did well.
a
Yeah.
bucket list.
Yeah.
It was just a bucket list.
100%.
And I'm going to do it somewhere where nobody knows me. I'm just going to do it,
Yeah.
And luckily I was 30 minutes away from qualifying for Hawaii.
You're like, thank goodness.
Thank goodness. I didn't have to make a decision.
Yes. No, thank you. I know. That's awesome. Wow.
But you were top 10?
Couple times. Yeah. Couple of ninths. 3 ninths. That was my number. I couldn't get past it. You were there. Yeah. So in another time. Well, nice. Well, I mean, I don't know. And again, no pressure there to come up with something. I just always want to make sure when I'm sitting with somebody, if there was some story. I love it. Good stuff. We have a lot of history, Dirk, and I think that it's been fun for me to get to know your backstory. It's always fun to see how you're living here in Boulder. And I appreciate you coming on, sharing stories, sharing some of that with us. Yeah. It's
fun times. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. And then I will say this, as I always do, Dirk, to everyone listening and to you as well. Before our next episode, I encourage you, and I know you will, to go out there and do something that you love.
Yeah.